I avoided some distractions. Of course, there are distractions in school, right? But I knew what I wanted. So it is important that as an undergraduate or as a student in school, you should know what you want. Knowing what you want is very, very important. After my secondary education, I couldn't immediately get into school as I wanted. There are times when those times when you were in school, you felt like, just after your secondary education, the next year you get into school. And no, so it's not so for me. I had to pass through tough times. However, they say that tough times never last, but tough people do. That's by Robert's scholar. But I had the mindset. Is everything. Even before entering school, I had the mindset that whatever I am going to do, I will ensure that I come out amongst the best. In fact, I gave myself the first 3 persons in my class, I should be amongst those persons. So I had a mindset that would, set my path right. If I tell you that my story altogether is just success sweet and the rest of it, then I lie to you. There were times when I, encountered tough times. There were times where I can't. One of those, times was when I had a D in the course, even as a first class. Yes, man. I was not happy. I was not happy. Now finally, I am seeing that I'm having first class. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. In fact, most often than not, those who graduate with first class already know that they are going to graduate with first class. While their companions slept, were turning upwards in the night.
Powerful.
Yes. Powerful. So those sweats also kept me going, right? So I would rather either be in church or in school. In fact, it was not. May I also tell you that as a student, be ready that it will also affect your health in one way or the other. It is not sweet. It is not sweet. How do I mean? By 7 a.m. to 8, I will be in school in the morning. And then let's say 5 to 6 p.m. I'll be coming back home. Then when I come back home, if I have Bible study to attend or church to attend, I will do. If I don't have, I will stay or rest a little bit. Around 9 or 8 to 9 p.m., I'll go back to school for night lessons or night classes. Yes. Go back to school. Of course, we experience mosquito bites. So all of those were my routines. I come back like that. I was consistent by God's grace.
It wasn't easy.
It was not at all.
But you had to go.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to Premif Academy, where we are raising the foundations of inspired and informed generation. My name is Miracle Ifine, and I'm your host. Today, we have an exclusive masterclass with a first-class graduate who defied all odds to top his class. Get your pen and your jotter ready because it's going to be explosive. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
So we'd like to know, what's your name and then what did you study?
Okay, I am Ahama Moses Ahama, and I studied health information management.
Wow. Nice having you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So can you tell us, what was your background like growing up? Did you always excel academically?
By the grace of God, yeah. Growing up from, I think, my cradle, from my primary education to my secondary education, by God's grace, I've been doing well because of the company of persons I mingle with. Yeah, eggheads, same class, and so we were doing well. I was doing well by God's grace.
I got something there. The company of people you mingle with.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yes. They say that if you want to go far, go with likes. However, if you want to go fast, go alone. So I want to go very far. So I need to work with likes, company of these persons who motivate me to do better.
That's powerful. Yeah. I'm already getting value, right? And we just started. That's good.
Okay.
So was there any turning point or aha moment during your undergraduate level that you decided that, okay, let me aim for a first class?
Okay, yeah, there was a time like that, growing up after my secondary education, I couldn't immediately get into school as I wanted. There are times those times when you were in school, you felt like, just after your secondary education, the next year you get into school. And no, so it's not so for me. I had to pass through tough times. However, they say that tough times never last, but tough people do. That's by Robert's scholar. But I had the mindset. Mindset is everything. Even before entering school, I had the mindset that whatever I am going to do, I will ensure that I come out amongst the best. In fact, I gave myself the first 3 persons in my class, I should be amongst those persons. So I had a mindset that would, set my path right. Yeah.
That's powerful. So your mindsets, you already had that mindset that you're coming out in first class.
Yeah,
even before you enter school.
Of course.
And despite the fact that you faced some delay, but you knew that by the moment I enter, I will come out with the first class.
Exactly.
Powerful.
The fact that there was delay, it was already a challenge for me.
Wow.
That motivated me more. Even from where I did school in a private school, but I knew that I was going to face persons who, went to private school, good schools, and, what have you. But because of the competition I had during my secondary education, I was very optimistic that I was going to hit it hard.
Wow.
So I came with a prepared mindset. Yes, that does not mean that challenges, did not come. However, we are going to talk about that. I think so. But mine was set.
Was there a time you felt like giving up in school? How did you push through academic challenges, burnout, or failure?
Yes, there were times, of course. If I tell you that my story altogether is just success sweet and the rest of it, then I lie to you. There were times when I, encountered tough times. There were times where I can't. One of those, times was when I had a D in a course, even as a first class. Yes. Man, I was not happy. I was not happy. Now, I tried all I could to ensure that was corrected. Even my, I think, head of department then was backing me up, but it was looking like a very serious one for me. I could not even get through it. I was almost getting discouraged. Would I still earn it? Because I already knew what I wanted. I already projected what I wanted. So I already calculated, my results. As soon as I finish my exams, I sit back, do my evaluation, check how far have I on my own. How far have I gone? Of course, even before the semester begins, I know the number of courses I'll be doing.
Wow.
Right? So I sit down, calculate the CGPA, which courses, would I do, or would I put more effort on to gain this and the rest. So I already programmed myself. I knew that, okay, if I have an A in this course, that will be right. But if in this particular course, I'm not having a D or a C, that's a big challenge for me. So it's one of those courses, I think a curriculum load course, where I had a D. Now, I think that particular semester I did 7 courses or thereabout, and I had about, I think 6 A's or 5 A's parallel. And I was hoping to have an A again in that course. Then it was a D. In fact, it was a big one for me. It was a big blow for me. I said, wow, why could this? But I sailed through by God's grace. I was able. In fact, I had to write to my head of department. I wanted to report the matter to the school. I wrote to my head of department, who even called the lecturer and said, "This guy, there's a student who will approach you and you feel like this person, if he takes this matter up, it's going to be an issue." But with wisdom is very, very important. Yeah, the Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. So with wisdom, I could handle the situation, seek advice from senior colleagues who would advise me that, well, check your results, so that I don't cause problem to myself and subsequent semesters. So what that was one of the challenges I had during my undergraduate days.
That's powerful, because and that's a lesson there that even with a D, you can still come out with first class if you really put your mind into it.
Yes.
Yeah, that even reminds me. I know when I was in school, we had the story of a sister who got like 2F, but she came out with first class because she had to write it and came out an A. So failure is not final.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's powerful.
Thank you.
So I would like to know what are your daily or weekly habits, like your study routine? How did you help you to be top of your game?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I usually tell people who look after me or who look up to me that, you see, first class or distinction, say, it is not. You don't just get it by accidents. You don't just see yourself earning first class. No, not at all. You don't just see yourself gaining first class. You don't just see yourself in final year and you're saying that, oh, I'm having first class. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. In fact, most often than not, those who graduate with first class already know that they are going to graduate with first class. That's the truth. I'm speaking out of experience. Yes. So there are many things that you would do to stand out. You know that you graduate with first class. You don't just get to your final year or 300 level or 400 level, you feel that, okay, I want to graduate first class. It doesn't work like that. There is no magic. Nothing. Even nature at that point is neutral. Yes. So yeah, I was optimistic, that I was going to graduate with first class. My mind was set. Whatever I was doing. So my routine were like, I avoided some distractions. Of course, there are distractions in school, right? But I knew what I wanted. So it is important that as an undergraduate or as a student in school, you should know what you want. Knowing what you want is very, very important. Know what you want. That is what will keep you going. That is your motivation, in fact. I never had any other motivation. If my parents were just there to send me, most times I discovered that whenever I hit a distinction in a particular semester and I get to call my parents to tell them that, I have done this, I did very well, highest they could do is, in fact, my dad would like, that is why you are there. You get that kind of, so it's always like, that is why you are there. Yes, I'm proud, that's why you are there. You get, there's not like kind of jubilation, like, oh wow, my son, like kind of trying to pet you. The spirit is, that is why you are there. Right? So at some point, even with my elder siblings, I do not tell them again. I just knew that the fact that I want to end first class should be enough motivation for me. No, that I didn't get to seek motivation from any other source, from any other person. The fact that this is what I wanted was enough motivation for me to get it.
Wow.
Yeah. So my routine was like, before I left home, that is why parenting is very important. Yes. My dad told us, or told me, that, in fact, let me say, gathered us together, and then mentioned that if you are going out there are 3 places if I call you, you should be. 3 major places that stick to my head. He said, number 1 is either you are in school, you are in church, or you are in the markets. I can't forget those words.
The triangle.
You understand? I can't forget those words. So you're either in school, in church, and in the market. Those are the 3 places
it should be.
It's because you are always conscious of not just the Spirit of God, the Spirit of my Father. yes, I'm always conscious of that because of the training I got by God's grace when I was growing up. So you don't, so that whatever, so what, out of this triangle, wherever you would be, His Spirit might not be there with you. Do you understand now? So His Spirit might not be there with you. So I'm conscious of my movements. I'm conscious of where I go. There were times that, of course, my colleagues were like, "Oh, let us go swimming pool." The city where I studied is a recreational state, right? So it's a beautiful state. It's a place that people could go and always go and enjoy and normal, right? There were times colleagues were like, let's. I know that's not where I'm supposed to be. That's not where I'm supposed to be. There's something I am aiming at. In fact, that is why favorite quotes is that those heights by great men won and kept were not achieved by sudden flights, but there, while their companions slept, were turning upwards in the night.
Powerful.
Yes. Powerful. So those sweats also kept me going, right? So I would rather either be in church or in school. In fact, it was not. May I also tell you that as a student, be ready that it will also affect your health in one way or the other. It is not sweet. It is not sweet. How do I mean? By 7 a.m. to 8, I will be in school in the morning. And then let's say 5 to 6 p.m. I'll be coming back home. Then when I come back home, if I have Bible study to attend or church to attend, I will do. If I don't have, I will stay or rest a little bit. Around 9 or 8 to 9 p.m., I'll go back to school for night lessons or night classes. Yes. Go back to school. Of course, we experience mosquito bites. So all of those were my routines. I come back like that. I was consistent by God's grace.
It wasn't easy.
It was not at all.
But you had to go.
Yes. So now tell me, who does not have that mindset or that motivation inside of him or her that I want to gain first class? You will not want to undergo that stress, all those rigorous processes.
That's powerful. So, how are you able to balance academics and other extracurricular activities?
Okay.
Because we've discussed before, you said you were a president of your association or something.
Yes.
Tell us how we are able to.
That's interesting.
And you're also going to church. How we are able to balance everything?
Interesting. One of the things I would want to say, especially to our Christian brethren, they feel that when you get into school, you should not associate either with people. You should not, in school they call it unionism, school politics, right? Yeah. But it is not true. It is not true. It is not true. Like I said, the first thing is your mindset.
Yeah.
I was going into, because I was into unionism. In fact, I was the South zonal president of my association.
Okay.
Right? We are just 6 in the country. So I'm the South zonal president while I was in school. Right? And then I also was the departmental general secretary, as I think my second year or something. Yeah. And then but I was going into it to learn. I was going into it to learn leadership. I was not going for either money or to gain power or what have you. I was going into it to learn. I was going to learn leadership. Right? So what I was, so even when I am in class, most times, you know, they want to have a meeting, either executive meeting or what have you. But once I see that a lecturer enters my class and I am here, even as a secretary, I whisper to my president. Of course, they know what I stand for. They know what I represent. That's why it is important. You know, they say that yes, it's important you let people know what you stand for.
Yeah,
it is a system. It is a system. At some point in life, system would help. System is even more dependable than discipline. Yes, I've come to realize that system is more dependable than discipline. There are times when trying to be disciplined, people around you may not even understand. They will discourage you. But if they know that there is something you stand for, they would allow you sometimes to do your thing.
Yeah.
So even when as a secretary, taking minutes, of course I have my deputy secretary there. So when it is time for class, and then I see that a lecturer has entered my class, I was a serious student by God's grace, so there's no how I can be in a meeting and the lecturer is in class. So I will just talk to my president, please, for the meantime. So I have to prioritize. So I major on what I should, right? Not trying to minor on the major and then major on the minor. That's not correct. So some persons, that is why it is a situation that some persons get into school very brave and clever, but before you know, they get distracted by school unionism, school politics, and what have you, forgetting the main aim why they were in school, right? But God helping me, I didn't fall, in that prey. I was able to balance the two, even if I involved in, social activities, school unionism, and what have you. However, I reduced, my engagement in these activities. I used to play football even before I gained admission into school. But when I was in school, I could stay for over 5 months without going to the football field. I am not saying that you don't have time to exercise, but
you have a scale of preference.
You understand? So I have a scale of preference. So I do it once in a while, and I don't even feel like I'm missing something, because I know that this is more important. This is more important. Yeah.
I'd like to ask, did you ever feel pressure to slack off or to just feel average?
The only time I felt this way was when I had a D, in my course, in one of the courses I did during my undergraduate days. This was a course I was sure of having an A or a B, but unfortunately, I saw a D. At that point, I felt discouraged. So I had to go back to the drawing board, trying to check my CGPA again. Would I be able to attain this? Would I be able to gain my first class, my distinction? Because I had a system whereby I want to ensure that all the semesters I hit, my 400 level and 500 level, all my semesters I hit distinction. So my mind was already programmed that throughout, because at the end of the day they'll divide by the number and then to give you whatever you want.
It's a cumulative.
Yeah, cumulative, grade point average. So as a result of that, I was, consistent in ensuring that I gained that. You get it?
So yeah. What are some common myths that people have about first class that you like to debunk?
First, I will start by saying, generally, I think most often than not, we hear that school and scam. And then another might, in the streets we hear that those persons who graduated with first class, where are they today? Are they not the ones driving a KK, or they are employed by those persons, who graduated with either a pass or what have you? But that's not true. That is not true. As much as possible, please do not fail. I listened to a pastor preach. He said, as much as possible, please don't try to fail. Try never to fail. It's not a good one. It's not a good one. So yes, there's a lot to it. Personally, I'm a testament to the product of, and the advantage or, the dividends of first class, especially during my service year. In fact, can I even say this? When I was in school, an interesting story. When I was in school, there was a particular course I offered. I think it's a 4-credit course, very unique. And then we did an assessment together with my colleagues. And then one of those days, and I think the lecturer is a doctor, and then has a secretary, right? So I don't know how that the doctor asked his secretary, called my name, and then said, okay, give Moses and Susu person, the two of us, Moses and Susu persons, out of 40 for the assessment, give them 30-30. When I heard it, I was, wow. Now, he has not seen our scripts. Yes, he has not seen our scripts. He does not know if at all we were present or not. If I did very well or not. Of course, even as first class does not mean that you must have all A's in all the courses. There are courses where this person will do better than you. There are courses maybe you go down. But he does not check all of those, this person, that consistency. That consistency. So your name now, being known beats being the best.
I hear that.
Being known beats being the best.
Yeah.
That's why, being what do you call now, an expert who is just there, simply just hiding yourself. Nobody will know you.
Yeah.
So being known, even when you are not even the best, but being known beats being the best. So as a result of that, I put myself out there. So he says, give these two persons 30-30 over 40. Other persons, give them below 20. It was funny, yeah. It was funny, but that was reality.
Wow.
That was reality. So I began to, when I go back, I began to resonate. I said, what is? He has not seen my script. He has not seen this person's script. To see if I actually did better. What if I was sick that day? I didn't read very well for that assessment or for the test. But because of that consistent mark, pushed me to where in fact, what came out to be as a result, right? So back to your question, my service year, while we were in camp, NYC camp, of course, we are divided into platoons, and then we were trying to, those persons who have gone for service, who understand, will know that there is a corp camp commander, right? We have a general commander in camp, then we have corp camp commander. Then they were looking for that. The competition goes thus. They will choose at least 2 persons from each platoon to represent for a competition in camp, right? Now, amongst the number of persons, of course in hundreds, in my platoon, there is no way they can choose who is good to represent like that. They cannot just come and pick you.
Yeah.
Because
they don't know you.
On other activities, they can pick randomly. Mr. Macho and Big Bold and Beautiful, they can just pick based on. Physical. But this particular one is one that requires you having to represent.
Yeah.
Right? So the platoon, the question they asked was, amongst all of us here, they want somebody who will represent us. They said they didn't ask who would. The question was, who graduated with the first class? Amongst all of you here, who graduated with the first class? I'm not exaggerating, but truth is, I was just the one.
Wow.
In fact, one amazing thing in camp I experienced was that till I finished my 21 days in camp, those persons were in my platoon who knew me were calling me first class.
So that was a leverage already.
Do you understand?
Wow.
So they're calling me first class. Most of them, big persons, first class. They don't even know. They don't know my name, including my roommates. Right? You know my roommate who should know my name. but they were calling me first class. So that gave me a leverage above all other persons. I may not even better than them, but because of that first class, it has given me a leverage, right? The story is, in fact, how about my PPA, my place of primary assignment? I was opportune to lecture in a federal university as a result of first class.
Wow.
So that was how transitioning to when I got into as a corporate lecturer. I have my personal office.
Wow.
Right, I have a cleaner. I have my everything. I go to work twice in a week highest. Of course, as a lecturer, I just go when I have my students to just call. When you have me, can I just come? And then after of course, we compare that with a corporate who be writing notes, and then that's the leverage first class has placed me.
Yeah.
So please, whatever you are doing, be good at what you are doing. Be good. There's still a place for first class. Don't be discouraged. There's still place for first class.
Yeah.
Even our content creators, the other day I heard, sorry to cite his example, Chief Priest. He was advised, he said they asked him, what advice would you give the younger generation? He said they should go to school, obtain a degree. And then I was like, even at this level, then our juveniles and young people feeling like, it's crazy. So that was it.
So what's your advice to students who feel that they're not smart enough to achieve academic success?
Okay, advice to students who feel that they are not smart enough to achieve academic success. Well, personally, I believe that there is nothing you cannot achieve. It is just your mindset. Mindset is everything. I have not just read that in a book. I have seen it come to play. Right? Of course, as you grow up, I discovered that there are things, those times you usually hear as per quotes, but as you grow up, you see them come to play in reality. So your mindset is everything. If you feel that you cannot achieve it, that is how it's going to be. But if you have that mindset that this is what I want and you want to go for it, you can go for it. A young man was asked 3 secrets of his success. He said 3 things. Number 1, I determine what I want. So you must set clear goals. What do you want? What do you want? I was not just saying first class is a major goal, right? Is a major goal. In other words, I could say that's the big domino. Now, there are basic things you need to do, either daily or weekly, to attain first class. Right? There are basic things you need to do. You need to be attentive in class. You need to be in attendance. You must be consistent. You must be consistent. Do your assignments. Now, some students feel that they want to prepare for just their exams. It doesn't work like that. The secret to it is your assessments. I think I'm talking to the undergraduate now. The secret to first class and hitting an A in any course is from your assessments, not even your exams. Start from your assessments. You're able to hit your assessment if it is over 40, if you rank over 40, 30. That's where you've attained
that leverage already.
To hit first class. So it is very, 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 very possible to hit it. Don't be discouraged. Be attentive in class. Do not listen. Go with likes. Go with likes. That's another thing. I see people who come into school vibrant, firm. They are ready to give in, but along the line, because of the friends, of course, friends will either make or mar you. Be intentional. Be intentional. Know what you want and go for it. So first of all, you know what you want. You now determine, what do I need to do to get to that point? That becomes your daily routine now. I need first class. That is your goal now. That's your ambition. That's the first step. What do you want? You define it. If you don't define what you want, then you'll be an average student, a mediocre. Anything that comes, you take in. That was why when I had D, I was trying to push that, no, this is not what, because I knew what I was aiming for. But if I just allowed everything to just with sleep gloves or take things lightly, anything at all could just come, and then I say, but that's not the case, because I knew what I wanted. And then I've built consistency over the years, that even when my people would hear, my head of department, or they're able to front it for me. Right? So Number one step is, set your clear goals. Okay, what do I need to, your ambition, what do you want? Number two, the steps to what you want. Studies, I tell students that if I want to study, I read with 4 materials.
Okay.
I read with 4 materials. Now, number one, I put 4 things together if I want to prepare myself for an exams. Number one, the jotter, my personal dictation notes in class. That's number one. Number two, the lecturer course material. Number three, past questions. That is a sine qua non, the Englishman would say, something that is inevitable. The past questions. See, you don't just go to school as other persons are going to school. The way you think is different from another person. The last thing I go with, I develop my personal notes. During the time for preparation for my exams, I go get an 80-leaf exercise book or 60-leaf exercise book. So if I'm studying here, I'll be writing it down here. Those past questions, I'll be answering them on a separate sheet. Then when it is a week or close to my exams, I do no longer move with my lecturer's material again. I only go with either a past question to check, but majorly it is that my summary note, that my 80, the one I have developed for myself. Wow. That's what I use to prepare myself for exams. Wow. Highest I could just make reference to other things, but this is the major guy. I don't joke with that book. Wow. I don't go to school with it. I don't joke with it. It's separate, it's carved out. Wow. Right? Wow. Yes, so those are the basic steps I took. So the last out of the 3, it is now for you to get it. So by the time you set that Lego, do what you need to do to get it, and then at the end of the day, you get it.
Wow. That's
you get it. Yes.
That's so it's not about feeling, it's action. It's not whether you feel like you're smart or not. No. It's your action that determines your destiny.
Your daily actions.
Your daily, and not just action.
No,
daily action.
Yes.
So it has to be consistent.
You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent. There was a time I did a course, and then we are doing our exams. Then a colleague of mine said that, see, it's not even about what Moses is writing. It was looking like a joke. Then I thought maybe they were just laughing at me. It was after some times I now began to ponder on what was said. I said, wow, this is a very great say. The colleague was now like, it's not about what Moses is writing, it is because it is Moses, that is why. Yes. So then I was trying to convince them, how would you say it's just about me? It's not what they have seen that I am doing that is making them to give me what I want. I say it's not true. That even if you are the one whose name is appearing on my script now, I will have an A. So it's not even about, yes. They said it to me, like, it's not about, it's because it is the Ahama. Once they just see the name, even if I write the nonsense now, then they see Ahama Moses a bit. They'll give me A.
That's powerful. We've gotten a reputation and identity already.
Then another thing I want to say is this. This is very, very important. This is a secret I'm going to leak for free. As an undergraduate student, because there is a general say that, you must always sort. Now, this is one thing. Even if you fail a course in a particular semester, please, that does not mean that because you want to hit first class, you find your way around it to pay and sort and then move on. That is wrong. Now, what am I trying to say? If I am a lecturer, you are my students, right? And then I examine you, that's give you an examination or what have you, and then maybe for the first time, at that first level, I wouldn't know whose intelligence is more and who is doing better, who is who, right? General assessment, and then everyone submits. I could be that lecturer, or this person could be the lecturer that collects money from students, but because you didn't pay, you've done your best. You are expecting an A, then you are seeing either a C or D. Please do not go to say I want to pay money to clear off and have an A because I want to hit first class. That is not correct. That is wrong. How do I mean? By the time you feel that you want to remain consistent, maybe the following semester you will do better and then not go and sort. That is not correct. The fact that you sorted me before, I will always feel that you will come and sort me again. No matter what you write, it is not as if those of us who are first class or who did better wrote the best. It is sometimes because they know that the lecturers know that we will not come to see them, to sort them. We are not going to give them money. So they have no option than giving us what we deserve. Are you getting the point? They have no option than giving us what we deserve because they know that they will not see us to say, okay, I want to pay money or what have you. And they know that we can defend whatever we have there.
Yeah.
So you could see 7 questions to answer 5 in what you call a question paper. I could answer just either 3.5 or 4 because of time constraints.
Yeah.
3.5 or 4, and then you see another person answering up to 5. What's the difference? That name. That name is consistent. Another thing I will not fail to mention, you have to put God in the picture. The God factor is a sine qua non. In fact, one of the things I did for myself when I was in school was that the very first day of the semester, every semester, I give it to God. That's the sacrifice I paid. I gave it to God. My every first thing, I had a sibling then who was also studying pharmacy. I told him, I said, this very first day of the semester, at least or at most, okay, 12 p.m. you can break your fast. But this, be conscious of the fact that as you are living this very first day, and it's not just about fasting. You must be conscious that God, I dedicate this day, I dedicate this semester. You begin to practice words of affirmation. As I go to school, I even touch possibly those places I'm going to sit on. I go early that day. I begin to say, God, when I sit here, whatever I study, I will understand. I will gain favor in the sight of God. Gain favor from my lecturers. Once they see my name, this will be a replica of excellence.
Wow.
I begin to make those pronunciations like that. Pray, speaking words, powerful words. To myself, to my life, to my education, to my books, whatever, everything. That's one spiritual exercise I usually engage the first day of the semester. And once I do that, I'm confident of the fact that everything is going to be under my yes.
So you cannot take God out of the equation.
No. You cannot. I cannot stand here to say I did it because a result of whatever. Of course, everything comes from God, right? And so I need to acknowledge Him. And that's one thing I did that actually stood me out during my service, during my my undergraduate days.
If you could summarize your journey in one word, what would that be?
Okay, I would say it is grit. Grit is simply firmness of mind. There are times when I'll fall sick. There are times when I'll feel like, oh, I am tired. There were times maybe I feel like not even pushing ahead again, because I feel that even the system is not encouraging. So there are times when I feel like, oh, but I had one thing, grit. I had grit. I was optimistic. I was very sure of what I want to become. But the one thing that kept me going was grit. Go and check that out. Firmness of mind. I was holding on. So yes, so hold on to grit. Be intentional. Be very much optimistic. Don't be a pessimist. Be an optimistic fellow. And by that, I'm sure that by God helping you too, carry God along, so that you won't lose track. Some persons do well, they don't end well. Yes. Some persons do well, they don't end well. There are persons who had distinction first semester, second semester they will have upper credit or lower credit. They will not end up first class 2-1. But by the time you carry God along, you are conscious of that fact. You hit distinction, parallel. And that was what God helped me to do and acquired by the grace of God.
Really, it has been a very inspiring session with you. Many secrets being laid, many aha moments. It's been wonderful. We are happy to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me, Premif Academy. I don't take this lightly.
Please tell our audience to subscribe.
Oh, yes. Please subscribe to Premif Academy on our YouTube channel, and then you get more valuable content like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. So there you have it. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. If you want to get a first class, subscribe to Premif Academy. You gain there's a session on academic insight and the rest of them. So join us next time, next episode, as we unveil greatness. Remember, this is Premif Academy, where we raise the foundation of an inspired and informed generation. Till we meet again, subscribe, share the video, and do it to like. Thank you.